My wife, she thought I was dead. Because some stranger showed up on our property and decided to shoot me point blank. I really didn't have a choice lying on the ground losing all that blood. Either I had to shoot him or my wife might die. I've decided to tell this story because if you own a gun for self-defense, you need to hear this to avoid making a mistake that could cost you your life, or worse. Here's what happened. It was morning. My wife, Sandra, went to go outside the front door. Then a loud shriek shot through the house as she saw a man standing outside the door. He didn't seem right. Red flags were going off in my head immediately as I approached. He was wearing a winter camouflage coat. It was over 80 degrees outside. I asked if I could help him as my wife retreated back into the house. He stated that he ran out of gas on the main road and he coasted up to our property, which seemed very odd. I told the man I'd help him out and get him on his way. The man got closer to me. My adrenaline started to kick in. I told the man to back up a little bit, and that's when the bullets started to fly. But before we get into the fight of my life, this stranger that showed up on my front door 9 hours earlier, 10 miles north of our property, he shot a cop 3 times that had pulled him over and then sped off the scene. So this man shot a police officer 3 times, and now he's on my front door asking for help. I had no clue what was about to happen next. He shot at me 4 times from point-blank range, and time slipped into slow motion. Then this man stepped over me as I was lying on the floor, and he was headed right towards my wife. But luckily, I was carrying my handgun. I rolled on my back, pulled out my gun from the holster, and I could see this man fighting with my wife just feet away inside. I simply just wanted him to stop. But then something happened that I could never imagine. An opportunity. My wife managed to push the home invader away while she ran into the bedroom to lock the door. I've never been more certain in my life. With the home invader now distracted, that was my opportunity. I had to pull the trigger. But the gun didn't fire. Now, I've never experienced panic on this scale in my entire life. All because I didn't have a round in the chamber. Luckily, I still had time. And I thank God to this day I still did. Racked the slide with my blown-out wrist, then fired all 6 rounds. And he fell. Once everything was under control, my wife called 911, and I was rushed to the hospital. It was cleared 2 days later with minor injuries. Now, for everyone that owns a gun, you need to know this. Just because you own a gun, that isn't enough to save your life. Weird, right? A gun just saved my life, and potentially all the people this man may have killed after. But even in my situation, I could have lost everything. Imagine if my wife wasn't able to get away. Imagine if the invader shot me before I could load a round in the chamber. Imagine if I had a crummy detective that worked my case and treated me as a nutcase gun owner. But you sometimes hear stories of innocent gun owners going to jail for incidents just like mine. Gun owners who do everything right, but still end up going to jail. I thank the Lord every day I'm still breathing. And I ask all you gun owners out there to look into becoming a USCCA member like I am. Because after a self-defense shooting, your fight doesn't stop after you pull the trigger. It's just the beginning. And being a USCCA member is a valuable service to anyone who owns a gun for self-defense. Membership gave me access to education, training, and self-defense liability insurance the instant I joined. Believe me, when I look back on that day, I'm always wishing I'd taken one more class, watched one more self-defense course on the USCCA website, or read one more self-defense guide. But I can't see into the future, and neither can you. And if, God forbid, I had police officers asking me questions, trying to paint me as the villain, even when I did everything right. I know I couldn't have done it alone. I know nothing about the legal system and how to navigate it. And I'm not a guy with piles of money to burn on expensive lawyers. It was a great feeling knowing that I had access to education, training, legal resources as a USCCA member when I faced this life or death situation. You don't have to hope you'll know exactly what to do in a situation like mine. Instead, you can get the resources you need today when you join the USCCA. If you want the same peace of mind enjoyed by over 500,000 gun owners, check them out by clicking the link in the description below. You won't regret it.
Insurance has been purchased by the USCCA and is one of the benefits of membership in the USCCA. Coverage and benefits are subject to the terms, conditions, and exclusions of the insurance policy issued to the USCCA. Every USCCA member is an additional insured on that policy. Information provided herein is for informational purposes and is not intended to be a representation of coverage that may exist in any particular situation. USCCA membership is not available to residents of New Jersey, New York, or Washington State. Contact Delta Defense's customer engagement team at 1-800-674-9779 with any questions. Delta Defense LLC provides sales, marketing, operations, and administrative support services to the USCCA and is a licensed insurance agency in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, with its principal office in West Bend, Wisconsin. Delta Defense LLC does business as Delta Defense Insurance Services in California. California license number 0M34093.